ready to unlock the secret to confident English speaking.
Mm.
For like everyday conversations, you know.
Hmm.
We're going to take a deep dive
Yeah.
into this really practical English learning session
Okay.
and pull out the best tips and tricks
Mhm.
to help you speak comfortably and naturally.
Okay.
The cool thing is, even if you're not learning English,
Mhm.
these principles can be used to learn anything new.
It's true. Acquiring any skill often comes down to the same core principles,
So true.
no matter what you're learning.
Let's just dive in.
Okay.
Tip number 1,
Okay.
start simple.
Yeah.
I think we can get so caught up trying to sound really sophisticated
Right?
that we forget the power of just
Mhm.
clear,
Yeah.
concise communication.
Yeah. I agree. There's this idea that being complex means you're intelligent,
Mm.
but often it's the opposite.
Yeah.
To take something complex and make it simple,
Right.
that shows true mastery.
Yeah. It's like,
Mm.
why say I am experiencing extreme exhaustion
Right.
when you can just say, it's like,
Mm.
I'm very tired.
Right.
I mean, both get the point across,
Yeah.
but one is just way less pretentious.
It's not even just about not being pretentious. It's
Yeah.
also, it's easier to understand,
Right.
especially for someone still learning the language.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's like building a house, right?
Yeah.
You got to start with a solid foundation
Mm-hmm.
of those simple sentences,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can slowly add on the more complex stuff.
Yeah, like building blocks.
Yes.
Which brings us to tip number 2. Common phrases.
Yes. Those conversational power-ups,
Mm-hmm.
like greetings,
Mm-hmm.
hi, how's it going?
Right.
Small talk,
Mm-hmm.
what have you been up to?
Yes.
Saying goodbye,
Okay.
see you later,
Right.
things like that.
Think of them as pre-made building blocks. Instead of making each sentence from scratch, you can communicate more naturally and fluently.
It's like a cheat sheet
Yeah.
for everyday conversations.
Uh-huh.
You can just pull them out
Mhm.
without thinking too hard about the grammar.
The more you use them,
Yeah.
the easier they become. They're just in your memory.
Yes.
So you can focus on other things,
Yeah.
like your pronunciation.
Right. Okay. This leads perfectly to tip number 3.
Okay.
Practice listening
Mm-hmm.
and imitation.
Yeah.
This is where it gets good.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the immersion.
Yeah. Training your ear to the nuances.
Yes.
The rhythm and the intonation.
Mhm.
Those little changes in tone.
It's like learning to dance.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Wow.
read every single book about footwork and technique,
Mm-hmm.
but until you get out there on the floor
Yeah.
and move to the music,
Uh-huh.
you're not going to really get it.
The best way to learn is through shadowing.
Mm.
You listen to a native speaker
Yeah.
and then try to copy their pronunciation and intonation.
So you're like a vocal chameleon.
Yeah.
You're blending in with the language.
You're absorbing it.
Yes. Okay, listeners. If you want to take your listening to the next level,
Mm-hmm.
try this.
Okay.
Listen to this phrase. Can you help me with this?
Okay.
Now pause and repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to the emphasis on help and this.
Did you hear those subtle changes?
Yeah.
That's intonation.
That's amazing. It's like adding the final details to a painting to
Yeah.
bring it to life.
That brings us to the final and most important tip.
Okay.
This is where we go from just knowing
Right.
to doing
Yeah.
and making English part of your life
Okay.
every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tip number 4. Use English every day.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds simple, but it's where the real magic happens.
You know, how do we learn any skill?
Hmm.
Like playing an instrument,
Yeah.
a sport,
Mm-hmm.
or a new language.
Right.
It all comes down to practice,
Right.
consistent practice.
It's like a muscle, right?
Yeah.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just about repeating the same thing over and over.
Right.
It's about actively using it,
Yes.
pushing past your comfort zone.
And I think we make language learning way too hard.
Yeah.
People think you need textbooks and special software and
Right.
classes.
Mm.
But the best way to learn is to make it a part of your life.
So true.
Yeah.
So instead of just watching a movie,
Mm-hmm.
turn on the subtitles and read along.
Yeah.
Or listen to a song
Okay.
and try to understand the words.
Right.
You can even just describe your day in English
Yeah.
out loud.
You're making your own little English world.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know what's really cool?
What?
There's this thing called spaced repetition.
Okay.
It's proven to help you remember things.
Okay, what is that?
So for people who don't know,
Yeah.
it's the idea that we learn better when we see things many times,
Yeah.
but spaced out.
Huh?
So instead of learning a bunch of words at once
Mm.
and then forgetting them,
Right.
you would see them again the next day, then a few days later,
Okay.
then a week later,
Yeah.
and so on.
It's like planting a seed and then watering it
Yeah.
and giving it sunlight.
Exactly.
Generally.
Regularly. And you can do this with anything.
Yeah.
Vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation,
Right.
even those phrases we talked about.
So instead of practicing see you later just once,
Yeah.
you would practice it many times throughout the week,
Right.
each time getting better.
Exactly. And this brings us to another important element,
Okay.
active recall.
Okay. What is that?
It's remembering something without looking at the answer.
Oh, so like testing yourself
Yeah,
without notes?
exactly.
So like instead of just reading vocab words,
Yeah.
you would try to remember them without looking.
Yeah. It might feel weird, but when you try to remember and struggle,
Yeah.
it actually makes your brain stronger.
Oh, wow.
You know when you're trying to remember someone's name
Yeah.
and it's right there, but you can't quite get it.
Yes.
And then you remember that feeling. That's your brain making new connections.
So how can we use this for language learning?
There's so many ways.
Okay.
You could try to write something without looking up any words,
Mhm.
or talk to a friend and try to use new words.
Okay.
You could describe a picture
Okay.
or tell a story in English,
Right.
all from memory.
It's amazing how these ideas,
Mm.
spaced repetition and active recall,
Yeah.
can be used for anything.
Yeah. It's about understanding how we learn.
It's not just about language.
Mm-hmm.
It's about learning anything and being patient with ourselves.
Yeah.
Because learning takes time
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be learned.
And you will make mistakes,
Yeah.
but those are good.
Yeah.
They show us what we need to work on, where we can improve.
Exactly.
So we were talking about mistakes.
Right. Mistakes. It's something we touched on earlier,
Mhm.
but it's so important.
Yeah.
We have to talk more about it.
You know, it's like we're afraid of making mistakes. We see them as bad things.
Right.
Instead of like a
Yeah.
way to learn.
Yes. They're not failures. They're opportunities.
Yes, like that Thomas Edison quote.
Oh, yeah. I have not failed.
Mm-hmm.
I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work.
Exactly.
He didn't see them as failures.
Right.
Just information.
Yeah. And when you're learning a language, those failures are just
Yeah.
a mispronounced word
Right?
or a grammar mistake.
Mm.
Maybe you can't remember a phrase.
Yes. But those are the things you remember,
Uh-huh.
and they help you get better.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember when I was learning Spanish, I told someone I was embarazada
Okay.
instead of avergonzada,
Oh.
which means pregnant instead of embarrassed.
Oh, no.
It was a very memorable experience,
I'll bet.
and I never made that mistake again.
That's the point. It's not about never making mistakes.
Right.
It's about seeing them in a different way,
Yeah.
like feedback that helps us improve.
So don't get upset over a mistake.
Yeah.
Just think about why it happened and how you can fix it next time.
Exactly. And you're not alone.
Right.
Everyone makes mistakes,
Mhm.
even people who speak the language really well.
It's part of the process.
It's like learning to walk.
Okay.
You're going to fall down a lot,
Yeah.
but each time you
Yeah.
learn,
Right.
and eventually you walk
Right.
confidently.
I like that. It shows that learning is a journey,
Yeah.
not a destination.
It's about enjoying the process
Mm.
and being okay with not being perfect.
This whole deep dive, it
Mm-hmm.
really shows me that
Yeah.
being okay with imperfection
Mm-hmm.
and always trying to learn
Yeah.
is important for everything.
Absolutely. Not just language.
Not just language.
It could be a new project at work
Yeah.
or learning a new skill.
Mm.
Anything, really.
So as we're finishing up,
Mm-hmm.
I want to give you a challenge.
Okay.
Think about one thing in your life
Hmm.
where you've been holding back
Okay.
because you're afraid of messing up.
Maybe it's a project.
Yeah.
Or a conversation you need to have.
And this week, I want you to take a step towards it.
Hmm.
Don't worry about being perfect.
Right.
Just take a step.
Because remember, every mistake
Yeah.
is a chance to learn and grow.
And you never know what amazing things you might find.
You got it.
So as we wrap up our deep dive
Mm-hmm.
into speaking English confidently,
Okay.
what's been like resonating with you?
Yeah. What stood out?
Like what's something that made you curious
Mm-hmm.
or made you want to try something new?
Yeah. I'm curious, too.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you say it out loud,
Yeah.
it helps you learn it better.
Totally agree.
Mm.
And you know what? I think we should go back to the idea of making mistakes.
Yeah.
We talked about it before,
Right.
but it's so important.
We have to, like, really emphasize
That,
this.
like we're taught to be afraid of making mistakes.
Right. Like it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it's not.
When really,
Mm.
they're the best way to learn.
It's true.
It's like that Thomas Edison quote,
Oh, yeah.
I have not failed.
Mm-hmm.
I've just found 10,000 ways it won't work.
Exactly.
He turned what people see as failures
Right.
into data.
Exactly.
And when you're learning a language,
Uh-huh.
those failures
Right.
are just like mispronouncing a word
Mm-hmm.
or messing up the grammar
Right.
or forgetting a phrase.
Hey, but those are the things that make you better
Yeah.
because you remember them.
I remember when I was first learning Spanish,
Oh, yeah.
I told someone I was embarazada
Uh-huh.
instead of avergonzada,
Oh.
which means pregnant instead of embarrassed.
Oh, my gosh.
It was a learning experience for sure.
I bet.
I never made that mistake again.
That's what I'm talking about. It's not about never making mistakes.
Right.
It's about using them to improve.
So next time you mess up, don't get upset.
Right.
Just think about what happened
Ah.
and how you can avoid it next time.
And remember, everyone makes mistakes.
Right.
No matter how well they speak. It's part of the process.
It's like when you're learning to walk.
Exactly.
You fall down a lot.
You're going to stumble,
Yeah.
but you get back up and you keep trying.
Until eventually you walk with confidence.
Confidently.
Right. It's about the journey, not the destination.
Yes. And enjoying the journey. And being okay with not being perfect yet.
I love that. This whole deep dive has been amazing.
Yeah.
It's made me realize that this idea
Mm-hmm.
of being okay with not being perfect
Right.
and always trying to learn new things,
Mm.
it's important for everything,
It is.
not just language.
Yeah. It could be a new project,
Mm.
a new skill,
Yeah.
anything.
So as we wrap up this episode,
Okay.
I have a challenge for you.
Ooh, a challenge.
Think of one thing in your life that you've been putting off
Okay.
because you're afraid to mess up.
Like maybe a project or a
Mhm.
tough conversation,
Mhm.
something like that.
And I challenge you to take one small step toward it this week.
Just one small step.
Yeah. Don't worry about doing it perfectly.
Right.
Just start,
Remember, every mistake is a chance to learn.
and you never know what incredible things
Mhm.
you might discover along the way.
I like it.
That's the beauty of it all.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
And until next time, keep practicing, keep exploring,
Mm-hmm.
and never stop diving deep.